Some really cool markings there, Leo copy. They've got brown bodies and black and white striped legs. With the stripes on their legs, they might even remind you of a zebra, but they're not related to the zebra at all. In fact, they're the only known relative of the giraffe, with the same skull structure, same long prehensile tongue. On our left-hand side, these are greater kudu. Greater kudu are the second tallest antelope in Africa. Stand about 55 inches at the shoulder. Now you can tell that those there are female, and that's because they don't have any horns. For their species, just the males are going to carry the horns. Watering holes like this, very important gathering places for the animals that live here. Everyone's got to come down and get a drink sometime. Hanging out near this watering hole, bongo. Bongo's beautiful russet coloring and their white stripe. Both male and female do have horns swept back in their heads, which helps them to navigate through the tangled underbrush without getting caught up in it. Now, we are pretty lucky to see these bongo because their nickname is Ghost of the Forest, so they are very rarely ever seen. We are going to let them cross, of course, because it's their home. We're just passing through. Also, these are herding animals that do like to stay together. Now, sometimes hanging out near these watering holes, we've been pretty lucky to see a black rhino. We are in luck again today. Take a look here at the left, laying down next to that mud wall. So he's been putting his horn through some clay dirt. Go ahead and get a picture if you can, because this might be one of your only chances to ever see a black rhino. They are going extinct pretty quickly, being poached on a daily basis for those horns, which are not even true horns. They don't have a bone. More giraffe here. Several different subspecies of giraffe can tell them all apart by the pattern on their coats. The ones here, they're called Maasai. Maasai do have these smaller, roughly see edges to their pattern. Tompkins earth here on either side of us are termite mounds. The termites will make these out of dirt, saliva, and dung. It's a pretty simple recipe. And once they bake out in the hot sun all day, they get to be hard as concrete. So sturdy, giraffe and even elephant can use them as scratching posts. Once they're worn down to those smaller mound sizes, that's when smaller animals can top on top. Use them as a lookout point to keep a lookout for any predators that might be trying to hide in the tall grasses. Getting a little bit closer to part of the tower over here on our left side. Now, giraffe do spend most of their day eating. They require very little sleep, sometimes only 30 minutes a day, and not even all at one time. So pretty much if they're awake, they can be found eating, or on their way looking for something else to eat. You're going to strip the leaves off the trees with their 18-inch long tongues that are slimy, sandpapery in texture, dark in color. Used to help reach things to the bottom branches, even they're not tall enough for. Dark in color so they don't get sunburned. They do stick them out so often during the day. Laying down here on the left-hand side is a pack of African wild dogs. Now, they're also called painted dogs, so that patchwork-like pattern on their coats. They can actually recognize each other with their different markings, which are unique to them as our fingerprints are to us. Now, they might look nice and cute and cuddly, but they're not actually. They are nowhere near domesticated, nor will they ever be. In fact, they are the most successful hunters of mammals in Africa. They far exceed that of the big cats by working cooperatively together to secure their prey, chasing it till it drops from exhaustion. It's a pretty good plan. Seems to work from about an tree. It's also called an upside-down tree for the way its branches sort of resemble roots. Able to survive long periods of drought by going leafless for about 9 months out of every year, and they store massive amounts of water in their huge trunks. By doing so, it allows them to live for thousands of years. What a great view of the Serengeti grasslands. Stretches for hundreds of miles across East Africa. Acts as a superhighway of sorts for millions of migrating animals every year. It's also home to some of the favorites like giraffe, lions, cheetahs, elephants, and a whole lot more. So, of course, coming up here, we do see a couple of giraffe. Quite a few, actually. On the right-hand side. Also, check out the spectacular horns of the Ankoli cattle there to our right. Those horns are pretty amazing. They're about 3 to 4 feet in length, get up to 20 inches in circumference at the base. They might look heavy, but they're not solid. They're actually a hollow honeycomb type structure. Got blood vessels on the inside. Use them as their own personal air conditioning system. They'll send blood up to the horns to cool it down, and they disperse it back down through their bodies. Giraffe there on the right-hand side. Now, a group of giraffe like this is called a tower. Pretty easy to remember that group name. They do tower over almost everything. Get a closer look at them when we head up around that way. Leaving that way. Now, a hippo, when it's born, only weighs about 85 pounds or so, but a full-grown male hippo can tip the scale at about 5,500 pounds, so that is quite the growth spurt there. Just a little bit of the water coming up here on the right. That's pretty typical of a hippo during the day. Keeps themselves submerged like this so that they don't overheat. If they are fully submerged, they can hold their breath anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes at a time. Even if they're sleeping, they do have an automatic reflex that will bring them to the surface to get a fresh breath of air. More hippo coming up here to our left. A whole bloat of hippo, in fact. What you call a group of hippo, as they float. Well, they are pretty cute. They're also pretty dangerous. In fact, they are one of the most dangerous animals in all of Africa. That's because they are so very territorial. While they are strictly herbivores, they only eat grasses and vegetation. They will definitely defend their territory using their 18-inch incisors to do so if they feel the need to. Hanging out here on the island is a pod of pink-back pelicans. And the name for the coloration they get on their backs during mating season. It's just the slightest blush of pink, nothing too bright. They're actually the smallest of the pelican species, but still manage to have about an 8-foot wingspan. Ready to head over this old rickety bridge, going right over Nile crocodile down here on our left-hand side, in case you're wondering. Yes, those are very real. If you happen to see any with their mouths open, they're not trying to look scary, just what else makes this body. So they regulate their temperature since they are ectothermic, which means that they are cold-blooded. And they get to be about as long as a giraffe is tall. So from the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail, looking at about 16 to 20 feet once they are fully grown. Now with that, we're off to the savannah. Oh, looks like a herd of female and their young. Female are definitely the more social of the species. They bear the sole responsibility of raising the young. A little word of advice, though, you don't want to get in between a mother elephant and her baby. They are very protective. You might be too if you carry them around for 22 months. They were 300-pound child. For their ears like that, just one of the ways they can use to keep cool throughout the warm days. The blood vessels that they have in the back of their ears, creating that wave motion, can bring down the temperature up to 15 degrees. Every little bit helps. They also have more muscles. There's the baby in the background. The baby back there. More muscles in their trunks than we have in our entire bodies. They've got tens of thousands of muscles in their trunks alone. We use them for everything from picking up food, drinking water, playing, even throwing sand, mud, or dirt up on their back. They do that frequently throughout the day. It's a process called dusting. They use it as a natural sunblock because just like us, they actually have really sensitive skin. Females of the herd. Elephants do live in a matriarchal society led by the eldest female, which remembers where all the best food and watering holes are. Made it up to these red clay pits. Elephants like to eat the clay. It's got a lot of beneficial minerals. They don't usually get females, on the other hand. Wildebeests take part in the Great Migration every year. That's where about 1.5 million of them will travel anywhere from 500 to 1,000 miles following the rains in search of fresh food and water. They actually form the most densely packed herd of any mammal except for one, and that would be humans. You're going to dig out these burrows or burrow someone else's back into them, leaving their razor-sharp tusks exposed to protect themselves. And they've got some tiny little legs that will carry them pretty far, pretty fast. Matching a foot race of most of the other animals here, warthogs are going to be keeping up, running at about 30 to 35 miles an hour. Ostrich headed our way there on the right-hand side. Largest flightless birds. They may not be able to fly. Instead, they use their wings to steer when they are running up to 40 miles an hour. Some zebra coming up ahead there as well. Of course, those are ostrich eggs. Now, Grant zebras are what we're going to see here in just a moment on our right-hand side. There's a few different subspecies of zebra. These are probably the most common type. They're also called plains zebras. While they like sweet and docile, they're actually pretty aggressive, pretty strong. They'll break the jaw of an attacking lion with a swift kick of their hind legs. It's not really going to mess with the zebra. Like a lot of the animals here, rhinos are crepuscular. Just a big word that means that they are most active during the dawn and dusk hours of the day. So usually during the daytime, they can be found alternating between eating and sleeping. White rhinos are a lot more social, a little bit less aggressive than their cousin, the black rhino. So definitely a better combination. Got another couple of differences between the two. There's going to be their size. The white rhinos get to be nearly twice the size of their cousin, the black rhino. Also, the shape of their mouth is actually where their name comes from. It comes from a mispronunciation of the Afrikaans word bite, or bit. It means wide. It describes the broad square shape of their mouth. Translated to English, though, we thought they said white, and the name just stuck. By contrast, black rhinos do have a triangular shaped mouth with a prehensile or finger-like top lip. Helps them reach the leaves on the trees, living in the forest when they do. These guys live out here in the grassland, so the square shaped mouth helps them pull the grass up from the roots. There on the island, you're going to see about 3, 4, 5 gray and white ones that are smaller. Those are actually babies. Yeah, so as you can see, when flamingos hatch, they are not pink, they are that light gray color. And it takes around a year or so of them eating brine shrimp and other crustaceans like krill that are high in beta-carotene for their feathers to turn that nice light pink color. Now these are greater flamingos, so they are the largest in size and the lightest in color of all the flamingo species. Pretty neat adaptation of how they survive that hot, arid desert climate. Body temperature can withstand heat of up to 115 degrees before they even break out into a sweat. That way they can retain their moisture and go up to about 9 months without drinking water. Which is called a coalition. They cat to hunt during the day they are diurnal. Also have non-retractable claws. Kind of like wearing cleats all the time. They are always ready to go. An outcropping of rocks up ahead. That's a copie. The way it juts out into the savanna makes a great vantage point for lions looking out for prey. The lions are nocturnal, so they are usually inactive about 18 to 20 hours out of any given day. They're going to save up most of their energy for that nighttime hunt. And another crash of white rhino coming up ahead. Going to see them on our right-hand side here. Now, rhinos have notoriously bad eyesight. They are super nearsighted, so they don't see very far in front of them at all. To make up for it, though, they do have excellent hearing and sense of smell. Notice their ears might rotate toward the different sounds as they listen out for danger. There's some lions laying down here at the edge of the copie on our left. Looks like 2 females and a male. It's actually the females that you gotta watch out for. They do the majority of the hunting. Males hang back and watch the pride. They are the protectors. Some ostrich coming up ahead on our right. Coming up ahead, going to be on our left. Looks like we are coming to the end of our safari, so I'm going to drop you off at the nearest boarding post. Everyone